Good evening to all of you and welcome to the webinar, The Future of School Education, School Level Education. We have with us one of the eminent educationists to address the subject. Dr. G. Emmanuel is the Chairman, Council for the Indian School Certificate Examinations, New Delhi. And Dr. Emmanuel served as a PhD and MPhil and spent 4 decades in bringing many innovative changes in the Indian education sector. He is the Chairman, Council for the Indian School Certificate Examinations and Vice President of the Council Boards of School Education in India. He has been honored with numerous awards from various institutions in recognition of his immense contribution to education. For the last 30 years, he has been the principal and the chief driving force behind one of the largest schools in the country by enrollment. And today's subject is going to be a very important subject in view of the new education policy. And I can assure you that all of you will get a lot of knowledge and information from his valuable address. Good to Dr. Emmanuel, sir. Sir, you can start the lecture.
Thank you so much. Good evening, friends. Prayerful greetings for each one of you. And today's topic is a very vital topic, very important for all of us, the future of school level education. Once Albert Einstein was traveling from Princeton to elsewhere on a train. As he was traveling, ticket collector entered his cabin, asked him to show his ticket. He reached out his vest pocket, trying to get the ticket out. He couldn't find. Then he stretched his hands, put in his trousers, looking for the ticket. There also he couldn't find. Then he opened a briefcase, searching for a ticket. He couldn't find. Then he turned around his seat, and there also he couldn't find. As he was struggling to find the ticket, TT asked him and told him, well, I'll come back. You can show me if you have. I'm sure I don't have to come back. You must have bought one ticket. And furthermore, we all know who you are. We don't need any ticket from you. It's all right, sir. Kindly travel the way you wanted to travel. As he moved out to the next cabin, he saw the great physicist on his hands and the knees and looking for his ticket. The TT turned back and saw, and this sir was on the knees, rushed back to him and told him, Dr. Einstein, we will know who you are. I'm sure you must have bought a ticket. You don't need. Kindly relax. And Dr. Einstein looked at him and told him, my dear young friend, I know who you are. I know who I am. We all know each other. But what I do not know is where I'm going. Dear friends, the similar situation is visible here. The future of school level education. We are not even able to understand the present system of education. How to visualize the future? Education 1 could be possible because of first industrial revolution that took place because of steam, and there was a lot of improvement. The second industrial revolution took place because of electricity. The third one because of computer technology. The fourth one now is because of artificial intelligence, 3D printing, robotic technology, a number of things have come up. Now, as the world is changing, we require to change. We do not know what would be the future for the schools. Let's get into, first of all, to understand what is happening present level of our education. What are the limitations that we have in the present system of education? As you see here, there's a how the children are feeling in the classes. Are they happy? Are they bored? Are they tired? What is happening in the respective classes? Here, eminent educationists around the world, around 200 countries, they did research from progressive schools to even inferior schools, from IB schools, ISC schools, ICSE schools, CBSE schools, state board schools. In all the schools, huge number of education were sent around to find out what is actually happening in the schools, how the students describe how they feel in the school. And as you see, we have taken important 9 parameters to know about their feelings. Now, middle school here, we are referring to class 6, 7, 8. High school classes from 9 to 12. Now here, middle school children, they feel they're tired. That percentage is 55. High school children, classes 9 to 12, they say they are very much tired. 65% of them say they're tired. Going to school, sitting in the classes, right from 7 to 1 o'clock, they feel they're tired. Now, very many children, they say they're bored here. 46% of the middle school, 50% of the high school children, they say they're very much bored. And these children put into a lot of challenges in the school environment, at home, in the society. 39% say they're very much challenged with very many number of problems in the school system. 40% of the high school children. These are great numbers. These children also say they are pressurized by the parents, teachers, and number of people to learn something which is not relevant to them. 25% of them say they're not very happy because they're pressurized. And 34% of the high school children, they say they are very much pushed by the parents. As you see here, 27% of them are confused. In the school, educators, teachers, at home, parents, and the coaching centers, various other educators, teachers. They're getting a lot of confusion on the subject matter. Books say something, curriculums show something, the way their approach is different, whereas methods are being taught, they are confused. And they also feel they are not being appreciated. Around 20% of the middle school, 15% of the high school children, they say they are very much disheartened because there is no appreciation from the schools. And everyone who need to contribute something, they need to have some excitement. Here, 25% of the children are only excited, which means 75% of the children in the school, middle school, they are not excited either going to school or learning something. Here, whereas high school children, classes 9 to 12, these are very important classes. They are not at all excited. Their excitement level is only of 14%. What do you expect from them to learn better? Now, how many of them are happy? You see here, the people are happy also only around 42%, 6, 7, 8. Now, other classes 9 to 12, there are about 29% of them only are happy. Very many of them are not even interested. If these parameters, which are very necessary for healthy learning, they are not being met, what do you expect? Did you ever try to find out what do they feel? And whatever we want, we force upon the children to go to schools. We'll see the next. Yeah. There are 3 important parameters very important for better learning: behavioral engagement, cognitive engagement, emotional engagement. When the 3 parameters are taken care, learning takes place in a big way. Here, elementary school, class 1 to 5, the behavioral engagement is very high, 72%. whereas middle school is concerned 66%, high school only 50%. Now cognitive engagement, elementary school 78%, middle school 60%, high school 58%. Emotional engagement, which is very essential for any good learning. Here again, elementary school 76%, middle school 59%, high school only 52%. Mind you, these cognitive group conducted intensive research to find out what exactly is happening inside the classrooms. When the children are not engaged meaningfully in the behavioral engagement, cognitive engagement, emotional engagement, what do you expect for learning? Now we need to understand what could be a reason. Is it because of curriculum? Is it because school environment? Is it because the government policies? We need to study, understand, then arrive at it. Let's see the next slide here. Students' engagement as in the beginning when they start school, right from class 1 to 5, they engage very, very actively. The activeness shows about 76%. When they come to middle school, classes of 6, 7, 8, 61%. When it's coming to high school, it's only 44%, which is very, very less. If they don't engage, but any learning, the children need to actually engage. They need to participate. They need to be with a heart, mind, and soul. Then only it happens. When they themselves don't engage, what do you expect from them? Not very high results. Let's see the next here. And what exactly is happening when you compare the boys with the girls? Every time, all work, no play. Kids are more anxious and depressed. When you compare to girls, girls are doing much better than the boys here. For every 100 girls, 250 boys are being suspended. For every 100 girls, 335 boys expelled due to various reasons. Every 100 girls, 217 boys are into special education. Remedial classes, we say. Here, for every 100 girls here, 276 boys having the dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, learning disabilities. We need to address them. For every 100 girls, there are 324 boys emotionally experiencing the disturbance. Now, beside this one, n number of other activities, they are being involved. That's how they are not able to face the school situation very happily. Here, there's a lot of anxiety, traumatic disorders, and as a result, they're all facing a lot of problems. You see here, in our country, for every 1 hour, a child committing suicide. It is really a very dangerous situation. What we can do on this matter, it's a duty of each of us to address this problem. If we don't address this problem, it's going to be a great danger for the country and for all the institutions. There must be definitely some reasons. That's how they're not able to accomplish this one. Whatever we are doing, we need to introspect and analyze and find out, is this best for our learner? Each of us are educationists. We find if it's good, say yes. Then if it's no, don't do it. The pedagogy that you're using, the methods that you're using, curriculum that you're using, the board that you're following, if it's not suitable, don't go for it. If it's yes, you need to ask question, is it easy? If it is easy, and you need to make it to happen so that everybody can reach it out. If it is no, you need to identify what are the barriers and you need to find the solutions, then make it to happen. If you do this, I'm sure they'll definitely learn well and progress. Here, what is the best for the learner? Around the world, when you go about, they are looking for digital technology in the classrooms. I'm going to present to you one important aspect of digital technology, where Silicon Valley, where the most outstanding educationists who are specialized in computer technology, hardware, software, all of them reached out to Silicon Valley. Most of the outstanding companies, they put up their companies over there. From there, they're functioning. Every time they're creating something, innovating something, giving to the world to use it, they have really become an experts over there. Now, these experts in the computer technology, may it be hardware, may it be software, all these friends got together. They started old drop schools. These schools, how do they go? They don't allow any child to use any digital technology. No hardware, no software, no touch screen, no smartphone, no Google, nothing of the sort. Simply simple school education, traditional manner. And when the people approach them and ask them, you being the highly qualified technocrats, good engineers, you're given to the whole world as to how to take forward education through various learning instruments, such as smartphones and other things. How come you're sending your children to such a school where there's no technology? Don't you think your children will have great disadvantage for not using this kind of technology? They said no. In fact, our children, they'll be very good in creativity, and they'll be good in innovation. They'll do much better than others. And the research was conducted on these old drop schools. If they are going to have any disadvantage for not using any technology in these schools, they all found out and reported these children are doing much better than even other children where there is a technology being used. Dear friends, technology not necessary in the formative years of learning. In fact, these will disturb them. They will make them dependent on only technology. They don't even spend time to be with the parents, and they don't even enjoy with the friends if they are involved in the technology. They will be always confined to only with a TV or maybe laptop, iPad. They'll waste their time. But these children, without using any kind of modern technology, they're only learning traditional way, using art, music, the play, and they're learning so well. Over here, great thing is one teacher teaches up to class 8. They select talented teachers who are qualified, could teach right from class 1 to class 8. The same teacher teaches. They play a number of games. They enjoy learning. There is no restriction for them to use anything. If any one of these children are using technology at home, if they get to know, they will take strong action on them. Absolutely without a technology, where these Silicon Valley, around the entire world, around 3,000 schools are there of these world drop schools. In none of these schools, they permit any kind of electronic gadgets for learning any information. Now, Netherlands, when you see Netherlands, Steve Jobs named their opened number of schools, and whatever the best technology that is available are being utilized with only some restrictions. They said parents have to regulate, schools have to regulate, though they may be given latest technology to complement for learning whatever is happening in the classes, but they're not given freedom to use on their own. They're required to only use under the guidance of teachers and parents. Because of restriction, they're also doing good. In Japan, also similar manner, it's the same thing happening. Now, as we're losing time, I'll get into the next one. As you see, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. We are doing again and again the same thing, expecting good results. That's not happening here. Now, as I mentioned to you earlier, education 1, education 2, education 3, education 4 here. Prior to 1900, knowledge was doubling for every 100 years. It took a long time, but after Second World War and the First World War, you can see knowledge was getting doubled for every 25 years. After 1980s, knowledge getting doubled for every 1 year. Now, this year, IBM predicts knowledge getting doubled for every 11 to 12 hours. In the future, knowledge gets developed very quickly. Now, when you are into such a knowledge explosion, we need to do something. What is that? What is the next then? We do not know what would our children do in the future, what job they're going to do, how they're going to do, as the technology is really holding them and firmly doing the things. But if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday, we rob them tomorrow. This was made by John Dewey, eminent educationist. We teach what we are, but we should not teach what we are, but we have to teach the way required to be taught to the children. Here, dear friends, what are the best methods that can be utilized for the better learning in the present situation? Maybe feedback model. Feedback model includes of criticism-free zone. Here, though we are democrat in our country, unlike other countries, very many times we are not permitted to criticize anyone in the school. If they criticize the teacher or parent, immediately will be expelled or dismissed from the school. Criticism without any punishment should be permitted. And our people don't listen to the children. We don't listen at all. And we don't give an opportunity for the teachers for learning. And the teachers must learn more than the students. When that happens, it will be good for all of us. But the teachers are the students. That's not happening. There's no effective communication from teacher to student. If you have 45 students in the class, every child must be allowed to communicate. Every parent must be allowed to communicate. They may be right, they may be wrong. When you see our neighboring countries, China, and they're doing extremely well, they're allowing this feedback model to utilize effectively in their countries. Now, student-centered education. Since we are losing time, I'm not going to spend much time on this. We'll get back to the next one here. Yeah. What we need to do in the present situation, we need to adapt to the blended learning. What is the blended learning? We need to use the technology as well as gurus have to be used. Now, rather than like a chair on the stage, gurus are teaching and giving lecture the way I'm doing right now. We need to use a technology as well as teaching students the way they're required to understand. Teaching not only a subject matter, n number of things has to be taught by the child, not only to survive in the school, but also in the future services wherever they get into. Here, technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of the great teacher can be transformational, which means to say all of us, those of us who did not learn the computers in our formative years, we need to learn the technology because this is essential now. As the knowledge is getting developed, each of us must have inside-based training and regular training so that we can learn various ways to reach out to the all walks of life. Now, technology, now the present education policy also asks us, now we are deciding the future of the children. What do? We rate the children. We rate the children, give the report card. Now the present education system asking us, we should not judge, we should not rate a child alone. We should give the opportunity for the child to rate himself or herself. Then we should also give an opportunity to core students to rate the students, how they learn, what they learn. Then lastly, the teachers. Combining the self-assessment, the core students assessing, and the teacher assessing together should be taking the mean. From that, you have to decide but there will not be any pass and fail. There'll be only we need to place like the way it's happening in various countries. We need to conduct remedial help, and we need to provide all kind of help for the child with a number of tests, maybe online, offline, maybe it could be minimizing the syllabus, because all that we plan may not be used. Therefore, we require to provide such a help for the children. When you provide such a help, it will be plausible. Here, chalkboards that we're using will be very soon will be replaced with touch screens, and also computers, learning instruments. All this while we were avoiding, we're not permitting anyone to carry mobiles to the schools. Anyone who brings a mobile, we're expelling them from the schools. Because of this lockdown, we're allowing everybody to use the touch screens, we're allowing them everyone to use the mobile phones intensively. Though we're supposed to use this technology after 10 years for all walks of life, because of COVID-19 brought this technology much earlier. Now this would be the future for all of us, and we should, very many of us are finding very tough to go online teaching. We're finding very tough to conduct online exams. We're finding very tough to mark the home tasks online. We are yet to learn very many things. Therefore, there's supposed to be constant training for our teachers, the principals, and the management. Then only once we learn as to how to conduct online tests, how to teach online, we can go about. As the boards, we intend to come up with online teaching. The management is requesting us to hold on for a while because number of other disadvantages. This online teaching, online teaching really may be a problem for very many children. How is the problem? Very many middle class children, they're not able to get internet connections. They don't have even computers, laptop. They may not have even smartphones. They're finding it very tough. When teachers are teaching, there may be 3 children in the family. Same time, elementary school teachers, high school teachers, higher secondary teachers, same time they're conducting online classes. When there is only one smartphone at home, one computer at home, how do you expect all of them to use the same phone at the same time? There's a limitation. Very many people, they don't stay in affluent societies where they find very tough to get internet connections. Very many parents are not able to pay for school fees. They're not able to meet the expenses of the family and provide these facilities for the modern learning. There's a limitation now. Though world is moving forward with most modern technology, but we need to understand these limitations. Therefore, we need to combine traditional learning with modern learning. What we are doing in our place, we're also providing help books. We're providing the class notes. We're providing all that required hard copies. One of the parents expected to come to school, pick up those and go teach the children because they don't have the facilities. We're also videographing various lessons and showing them through YouTube. Whenever they're free, they can download those videos, they can watch. We also made such a privilege for people, not only one time, maybe morning, we're also giving the opportunity for even the late in the evening, because very many parents, they go for service. When they go for service, and they may carry their mobiles with them, the children may not have this opportunity to use those mobiles. So for both morning as well as afternoon, also we're given such an opportunity for them to carry on. In short, though there's a technology, but we are not prepared, we are not ready to utilize the entire technology as we're required to use. We still require some more time. We still need to supplement those families who are not able to afford this kind of online classes. The future is very uncertain because of this COVID-19. The children are not able to come to school. We do not know when we can reopen the schools. The scientists are keep on making wild guess, and the politicians are not able to take decision. I'm sure maybe after Diwali we may open the schools. Even if we open the schools, attendance may not be that good. Therefore, we may have to continue to use the technology, and we have to share whatever we have with others. Then only learning is possible. Because this COVID-19 pushed us to introduce the technology quickly, though without preparing the masses, without preparing the children, without preparing the parents, we have quickly started introducing online classes for them. So this is causing a lot of problems for everybody. Now, from now, we all have to prepare to face the future. For that, we need to have the different classrooms. Whatever the way we are using the classrooms, these arrangements may not be suitable. Seating arrangements, the computer labs that we have, the physics lab, chemistry lab, biology lab, mathematical lab, whatever the labs that we have, those need to be changed because they may not be suitable. Even the schools may not be suitable. We need to make a lot of changes in order to use the technology very effectively. Therefore, friends, technology has become the part of our life. We can't do away without using technology. And technology have to go in the classes. Every educator must spend some time learning what to learn, how to teach. Thank you so much. God bless. If you have any questions, if any ideas that you want to share, you're welcome. Together we'll discuss, we'll share with others. Thank you. Anyone would like to share some ideas as to how to change present curriculum, how to change the present way of learning, how to incorporate these for the future technology that required to be introduced. In the process of using technology, we're forgetting our values. The heart, head, soul need to be educated. Those things are missing. Communication skills, collaboration, cooperation, and making them to realize themselves who they are, what they are, why are they here on this earth, where are they going? If they're going somewhere, how do they get over there? How do they live their lives? These also had to be taught by the children through our moral subjects and through other subjects. Any questions? Any suggestions? I could see Vidya. Ms. Krithabai Parmar. We can spend some time. Unmute.
So there are a few questions.
Please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the question is, should classical music be taught in classes?
Definitely. Why not?
Yeah. Then the next question is, you want to elaborate, sir, anything on this?
Are you a specialist in music? Classical.
Sorry?
Good. If you're a specialist in music, why don't you share? Oh, yes.
Yeah. Our next question is, shall I go for the next question, sir?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. What is your thought regarding primary education? should be, whether it should be in mother language?
We learn better in our mother tongue. Research shows that we learn better, but unfortunately, um, for those families, those who can speak English, if they intend to go for English medium, it should be permitted because they would like to capture the world market. They would like to contribute for the economy of the whole world. They should be permitted. When we compare with the other countries like Germany, Japan, China, other countries, they're teaching their own mother tongue and allowing them to learn English, a foreign subject, foreign languages as a separate subject, so that they may also will have the knowledge of other countries. But here, merely allowing them to go for mother tongue without giving option for a number of affluent families, they will find different ways of escaping from here. They may go for IB schools, they may go IGC schools, they may send even the children to out of country. That would be definitely more expense for the country. As it is, we're spending a lot of money for educating our children in foreign countries. If we don't give them opportunity to be educated in English medium in our country right now, it will be definitely a problem. When our countries contribute in great extent for the world economy, now we're trying to restrict now. Those who could go and contribute very well, they'll face a tremendous problem. The choice should be given.
Yeah.
They should not be compelled to only go for mother tongue, because a number of people now, we have become global citizens now. If you're only confined to our mother tongue completely, though it may be excellent idea for very many people to learn in mother tongue, but if you make it compulsory, it may cause a problem for a number of people who are speaking English, who are intent to go out of the country.
Yeah, sir, the next question is, how will the municipal schools and rural government schools can cope up, as many students are not able to afford mobile devices or afford technology, to have technology?
Our government is keen on introduce Vande Gujarat. They came up through the TV channels. They are bringing up a number of presentations where everybody can have the TV. In the TV, they could see all these presentations. The curriculums are being reduced, brought it down to the regional languages. The presentations can be done through Vande Gujarat or Vande Bharat. This will definitely help them to learn through the TV channels. There are NGOs are also supplying the smartphones for various students, and government also intend to supply to the various poor families, middle class families, these learning instruments in the respective homes. Definitely, because the whole world is moving in that direction, because we are in the Industrial Revolution 4, where robotic technology, artificial intelligence is very much in present now. The people are utilizing it. So we need to move the direction. Just because we're not able to afford, but should not be neglecting those. Together as a responsible citizens, we need to extend a helping hand for even those people who need some kind of help. I'm sure our government, with a lot of wisdom, finding ways and means to reach everybody through RTE and other channels. They're also sending them to private schools.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The next interesting question, that how the evaluation of the students can be done, the best evaluation can be done in the online platform.
Best evaluate could be self. The present new education policy intend to give the opportunity for every child to evaluate themselves, and also teachers can conduct open tests and give them such question papers to the children. Diagnostically, they could assess themselves and could be given to the even parents, and should be given such question papers to the children to find answers and send back to the schools, even a hard copy, if soft copy is not possible. Then teachers, they evaluate those, understand those difficulties, and provide remedial help for the children.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, there is constant conflict between the expectation of the parents and the schools about career orientation of children. And that is there is a conflict between with reference to Indian education with other developed countries. So how to resolve that conflict?
All this while, all the politicians from Western countries, they were suggesting and promoting Indian education, Chinese education. In fact, United States of America, past presidents, the president was suggesting to their educationists, go to India, China, learn how they're teaching their students and making them extraordinary to go around the world to contribute extensively. Follow the systems being followed in the India. Now we, unfortunately, right now, rather than developing ourselves and going little further, we lifted totally Western education and brought it to India right now through NAP. So that need to be rectified. Otherwise, it'll be a problem. We need to capture the world market. In order to capture the world market, in order to be eligible for top 100 universities that are going to come to India, we need to make our children more efficient. Though this education policy is excellent in many ways, there are some gray areas that need to be supplemented, complemented with innovative ideas. I'm sure whatever committee that's coming up, they are writing in detailed manner as to how to improve, how to correct ourselves in order to reach out every walks of life, those who required to contribute in scientifically, technically, in any way. They are given an opportunity for creative ideas, innovative ideas through this system of learning. I'm sure the government and policymakers understand these and they want to supplement what to be done, how to go about it.
There's a next question that currently many students, they are not able to do the practical assignments or practical camp works or activities are not being done because of those. So how to cope up with that and how to motivate, how to teach them without that practical exposure?
As we are using digital technology, a number of private companies brought up a number of apps supplying to various institutions and asked them to demonstrate the way lessons being taught online, even conduct a practical self that they're showing. And they're also suggesting as to how to carry on their own. And they suggest right after school reopens, the physically when they would come to the schools, they would restart. Now they're learning theory part of as to how to conduct, practical to experience. Once they come to the schools, they'll be given opportunity to practice. It's not possible for every home to buy those apparatus and equipment, those chemicals to carry on those experiments.
Yeah.
It's not possible. Therefore, it is only possible by entering the respective schools because they're expensive. Everybody cannot afford. Though there are some parents, they are getting those equipments, they're allowing them to practice and experiment. But very many cannot afford, as you know, very many people, middle class families, they find it very tough to go for this.
Yeah. So the next question is how to implement online teaching for primary classes, especially.
Actually, nursery, junior, senior, these classes are very tough to allow them to go stick on to the online classes, because definitely one of the parents have to compulsorily sit with the child, and these children um, find it very tough. Therefore, uh, we suggested to the schools not to go beyond half an hour at one stretch. If they wish to teach various subject, maybe a morning half an hour, maybe afternoon another half an hour, they can pass on a lot of information, and through various activities, through they're planning various games, various songs, various activities they're demonstrating, and allowing them to pick up the language through singing, through dancing, to uh, doing some activities. Very many of them are doing these, and definitely the parents also, especially mothers, extend the cooperation, conducting as per the direction of the respective educators' instructions. They are also carrying on the same. When we say singing, mothers also started singing, dancing, even parents also dancing along the children for all these activities. So through various, as you rightly mentioned earlier, for music, through music, dance, activities, singing, various words being, picked up by the children, various activities are being practiced by children. The parents also practicing these. These children actually nursery, junior, senior, though they were not recognized all this while, the present education policy permitting us to go for this nursery, junior, senior. Keep in mind, they could be taught in a mother tongue. But as of now, we are only teaching in English, introducing foreign language early formative years, bit tough for them. Therefore, we were seeking the guidance, help from the respective parents to go with the teachers. Teachers are requesting the parents to extend all the cooperation support, carry on the way the teachers are doing that. Very many parents spending the time with their children because they want the children to learn the words, learn the numbers, and excel. It's only not that effectively is happening, but this is happening. The children are, very many of them are, because of the online teaching, they're getting accustomed to for the TVs and the mobiles and the TVs. There's a great danger in that. We're trying to find some way as to how to avoid using technology for nursery, juniors, senior, these classes.
We have is that does the NEP make any systematic attempt to take to the direction of cultural change? Because the new education policy talks about culture change. So does it has any systematic way to do that?
Yeah, the teachers themselves are not aware. Very many of them are not aware. Especially English medium schools, they teach us from various states of India, that they're moving from one state to another state. They may not know the local culture fully. They may not know local customs fully. So there is a limitation right now. However, we have yoga classes, yoga. We have the music in the, as you mentioned, classical music, and through dancing, physical exercise, and introducing the various vegetables, various equipment, the various toys, making them to identify and making them to speak. These activities are happening. We're trying to identify local cultures, local culture, and as per the local culture customs, activities being carried on. Those activities may be cultural activities, maybe learning activities, as per the local demands, those things being introduced. We have the local music teachers, dance teachers, yoga teachers, physical education teachers. These teachers with this various learning activities, they're introducing various exciting events and are playing exciting games, whereby all of them are getting attracted. They're also learning the language and following what could be done on this.
Yeah, the next question is, sir, that currently almost we have handed over the students to the market, as they are not, no one wants to pay fairly the cost of education to the teachers. It has downgraded the holy profession of teaching, and teachers' job is now not truly recognized and resulting to the scarcity of qualified and quality teaching manpower. So any suggestions for that, sir? Any views?
As of now, we need over 11 lakhs fully trained teachers. Those who were appointed earlier, they are not fully qualified academically, professionally. Now, in order to upgrade their skills, various school managements come up with various ways, and also the boards, respective boards, extend their helping hand. The governments extend the cooperation in training these people, because in order to reach out these children now, by the time this new education policy being introduced, now those in pipeline, they intend to introduce next year. They expect all the teachers to have the basic qualification, bachelor degree and the bachelor degree. Now, but those who required to get this bachelor degree and the B.Ed, they may not be able to do that because they may not have the required qualification. Plus, in order to teach up to preschool, as of now, only up to class 12 is required. And some of them have completed class 12 very many years back. For them to take up this bachelor degree now on regular basis, it's tougher. So government have come up with some way, the boards have come up with some ways to extend some external help for these teachers who are required to be complemented for enhancing the skills to teach better, to learn better, to carry on various activities. We are doing, as a boards, we are doing it. The government is also extending its cooperation to allow, helping them to complete this one. When the new RTE was introduced in 2009, there were 3 years was given to them. Again, the 2012, they extended another 2 more years for them to complete. Then 2015, another few more years were extended for them to complete. Now they're saying they'll be given another time, or maybe another 5 more years to complete the required qualifications. Since as a country, we need more than 5 lakhs teachers now, and those teachers already appointed, according to Parliament Act, all of them required to acquire government recognized degrees and government recognized diplomas. And we are encouraging all of them to complete those, without which they may not be very efficient in teaching and helping the children in a qualitative manner. There's a limitation right now. There's a problem.
So there's the next question that this year the 10th and 12th standard, how the students will be able to cope up the syllabus, and also there are some news about cancelling the board exams or something. So how that is going to impact the base?
The people are making wild guesses everywhere. As per the council is concerned, we have reduced the syllabus. Other boards also coming up very nicely, trying to reduce the syllabus. Whether we're going to have pen and paper exams, we're not sure, because how long this the COVID-19 would continue, we don't know. Scientists, doctors, the politicians are not able to arrive at any conclusion. But their intentions are clear. Maybe after Diwali, they may permit class 10, class 12 classes to go to schools to learn. Once lockdown is lifted fully, we would know for sure how much portion can be completed, how much cannot be completed. Because by February, March, they should conduct examinations. How much we can complete, that we do not know. So once we get clear indication from MHRD, our present and new Education Ministry and the Home Ministry and various state governments sitting together, discussing, coming up with an ideas. Once they come up publicly, we would know how many working days we're going to have. Accordingly, we will decide how much portion to be conducted. Examination to be conducted, but how you're going to conduct, we don't know. With the pen and paper, online, we do not know. We'll have to wait and watch, and we're studying about it. Once we get to proper information, we will able to comment on that. Right now, we're collecting information from various schools, from the various school management about online teaching. How many children were able to attend? How much portion they completed? How are they being assessing the children diagnostically, online, whether hardware, software, what is happening? Once we get views from the various school management, we would know exactly what is happening as to how to go about. We will take a decision on that.
Yeah, sir, I think with that.
We will close the program, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. We will close the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
For giving a very valuable and insightful talk. And you also answered all the questions very nicely. And I hope all the participants found the program very useful. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing time and addressing this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.